Learn how to use reflect delete property to cleanly delete an object property. Here's my boilerplate code, and we are going to go over this method together. In other JavaScript, if you want to completely erase a property from an object, you have to, let's say you have a person object, and you have name to be John, and you also have other properties alongside what you have in your objects. You want to do something like use a syntax like delete. Then I'm saying if you have something like this person, and this house name, maybe Alice, and maybe something like age and 50. In other JavaScript, when you want to delete this, so you want to do something like delete dot delete. You call the delete for, then you call your objects dot what do you want to delete. Then let's say you want to delete name, and if you have this now, you can just assign it to results and do something like maybe let result blah 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 blah, and get out your output. Now the reflect object now replaces this clunky syntax with a clean function call, which is the reflect.delete property method that takes in the object name and the property that you want to delete. So it does the same thing, but it keeps your codes uniform and functional, and you are going to see in the examples that follow. So I'll clean this, and then we'll go to the example that we want to use alongside this method. So let me make same objects and call it maybe person, and let's give it name. Then let's also give it last name, and maybe let's call it Joe something. So now that we have our object, so we can then erase this name property completely by using a function call. And how do you do that function call? So what we want to do is equivalent to this: delete person dot name. So this is the same thing that we want to do, but this time we're not using the delete keyword. We want to use the reflect delete property method. So I'll go ahead and then call reflect dot delete property, and inside it I'll pass in my object name as well as the value that I want to delete. So don't forget this encapsulation in either single quote or double quotes. And with what I have now, I can just go ahead and display the remaining properties left. So how do I do that? Well, document.get element by id demo1 dot inner html equals let me call it remaining keys plus object dot keys, and then passed in my object name. Let's see. Now you can now see it clearly on the screen that the only thing that is left here remaining keys is last name, because we have deleted the name. We have deleted the name property. So what is left here is now the last name. So you can see that the reflect.delete property has wiped out the name key from the person object. When we inspect the object afterward using the object.keys, only last name is left behind. So why use the reflect delete property method when you have this traditional way to delete, when you can use this delete keyword while going through this process, well, uh why fix what isn't broken? Is the old delete keyword bad? Of course, it's not bad, but it has quirks. So the old delete statement returns true, even if you try to delete a variable that doesn't exist, which can now lead to sneaky silence bugs in your code. But using reflect.delete property, it standardizes error and fits beautifully inside custom proxy traps whenever you need to control what your audit data deletion across your app. So this actually deletes, unlike delete keyword that can even return true even when the variable you are trying to delete does not exist. So if you look closely at what we have here, you can see that we pass our target object and the name of the property we want to destroy as argument. So this is incredibly clean because instead of writing structural operator keywords like delete, person.name that we have here, we are just executing an ordinary method. So once run, the name property vanishes from existence, leaving only last name inside the object. So now that you have used the object keys to check pressing, you can see that our object to remain just an object with with just one property, which is the last name, which has not been deleted. So that is the reason why you are seeing last name only on the screen. So if I add another one, let's say I have something like maybe age, I'll call it maybe 50, then this should also increase. So we should have uh age is not showing. That means there should be an error somewhere. Let me inspect why. So I'm trying to check for the reason why that is not showing on the screen. Age is not defined, but I'm currently defining age. So why is my age not defined? Let me try and refresh. It was due to catch problem before. So you can see this is just showing that, okay, what I have left now is the last name and age. So we've been able to see how this reflect the delete property method replaces the old structural delete object property keyword statement, and it returns a handy boolean value indicating whether the deletion succeeds there. It also integrates perfectly with proxy handler that tracks when properties get removed from an object.